WWE SmackDown plans were scrapped. Jacob Fatu has been announced for a Saturday night's main event match. And an AEW star is effectively retired following a major match. Stay tuned for all the deets. So, following the debut of Raw on Netflix, Solo Sakoa's got a little bit of acknowledging to do, doesn't he?
He does.
No longer controls the Ula Fala. He no longer is deemed as tribal chief, but I don't think it's going to really stop him. And last night's segment on SmackDown was kind of hotly anticipated because it was like, is he going to bend the knee? What's going to happen? What's going on? But it was said to be a hot topic of debate within creative at WWE yesterday as well. The original plans, apparently, which ended up being scrapped, saw Sakoa opening the show and addressing his loss to Roman Reigns outright. But instead, the segment started in a match between Jimmy and Carmelo Hayes, which was interrupted by Solo, Tama, and Jacob, who came down and just basically got the match thrown out.
They got the match. They did their usual attack stuff.
Yeah, he then went on to kind of to talk about it, but the crowd was so loud and booed him mercilessly to the point that he just handed the microphone back to Jacob, left the ring, took his jacket off, and walked out through the crowd.
And walked out.
And Jacob just stood there kind of looking at him, and it hung for ages, and it was like, is this Jacob realizing that Solo isn't the person he thought he is?
Maybe. I mean, this report coming from WrestleVotes, it's just very interesting that they have originally planned for him to do the whole addressing thing, and then we've gone, hold on a second, Jacob Fatu's really good. Maybe we'll have him cut the promo instead.
How about we just take it back to the bottom of the first?
Yeah,
let's go all the way
back to the end of the first inning.
We'll retcon this whole bit. But this essentially, with him walking out, resulted in Jacob Fatu grabbing a hold of the mic himself, cutting a promo that essentially ends with him saying, like, well, he's kind of going like, oh, you think I'm tapped? You think I'm crazy? All this stuff. He's like, I'm barely getting started here. Like, I'm just getting started.
It was a fantastic promo from Jacob.
Very impassioned.
Crowd was really into it. He had such control of the crowd. They started the what chants, and he just changed his cadence so that they couldn't do it. The man is fantastic. I do feel a little bit bad for Solo though. If this is a plan that is being scrapped, that they're no longer maybe not big picture, but they've gone, hey, this is going to be the next stage of your storyline. You're going to address the thing with Roman and keep you in that picture. And now they've got you just walking out, and it's Jacob's moment instead.
He's still in the picture, right? Like, it's still been Solo versus Roman. Jacob needs to be featured more as a single star, and it's something that the company needs to pull the trigger on soon because people are itchy for it. And I think that if Solo goes away for a bit, it doesn't really matter too much because Reigns is going to have to summon him anyway. So we're going to have to get to a point where Reigns is going to make him bend the knee, and it'll probably be on like a major Saturday night's main event or something like that, like a TV segment. But
what made me think though from last night's segment is that we're getting Jacob Solo at WrestleMania. That was my big takeaway from just the way it was framed, the way Solo is no longer the other tribal chief. Jacob's starting to click, and Jacob's getting a bit more confidence in himself to cut promos and whatnot. I feel like we're going to get the moment where instead of he says, I love you, Solo, it's I loved you, Solo. And you get a moment like that or whatever. I'm not a script
before he puts him down.
I'm not a writer. Someone else can write it better, but something like that.
Well, following on from this, and on the point of Jacob Fatu and moving toward potentially Solo, LA Knight came down, attempted to attack the Bloodline members in the ring, but they kind of got a little bit swallowed up by it. And then all of a sudden, Braun Strowman's music hit, and Braun comes in, took down Tama, and just stared Fatu out. And then before they could make contact, he got dragged out of the ring by Tama Tonga to Jacob Fatu. So
there was like the little tease of, we're going to get two big beefy men battering each other. And then it was like, no. You've got to wait just a little bit.
Just a little bit, because following on from this, it was announced in that, after the segment, that Jacob Fatu is now like set to face Braun Strowman at next weekend's Saturday night's main event. Like, a breaking match has just been made. But I think that this is going to be a hell of a match.
I think it's going to be really fun.
I think Jacob is going to absolutely go on a tear.
It's got to be a Jacob Fatu victory here. Like, there's no other way about it. Jacob destroys Braun Strowman. But it is good to see Braun back. He's been out ill for a little while. Him coming back there, going into that sort of spotlight picture with Fatu, which is funny. Braun's obviously got the tenure there, but Fatu, it's like,
Yeah, he's got the X, right? He's got that thing.
He's got the it factor. So having that match between them, I just can't wait to see like them batter each other and then Jacob hit a moonsault.
I can't wait to see what Braun's going to have to bust out to try and put him down, because I think Braun's conventional offense is going to do damage, but I think Jacob is inhumanly capable of absorbing pain.
Ridiculous.
But yeah, we then, keeping it with SmackDown later in the night, the Motor City Machine Guns were named once again #1 contenders to the WWE Tag Team Championships after they beat Legado del Fantasma on SmackDown last night. It's unknown when they're going to get the rematch with DIY, but how do you feel about this?
Oh, okay. So, well, I didn't want them to lose the belts in the first place.
Yeah.
I wanted the Motor City Machine Guns when they won the belts. It was like, cool, that's them established. Let's keep that belt on them and have some really sick matches. I'm glad they're back in that picture because we didn't get a definitive end to their last match with DIY. However, I know it's likely not going to be featured on pay-per-view. The last time the tag belts, either side, Raw or SmackDown, were defended on pay-per-view was WrestleMania last year. I just want to see a better spotlight on the tag division because it's really good.
Well, this is it. And I don't know whether it's just me and it's symptom of the era I grew up initially watching the product. But if there's one division I don't so much mind, not hot swapping, but short reigns, short exciting reigns, it's the tag division.
Yeah, fair.
Because it draws a lot more eyes to it. And like, back in the day, it was like belts were just changing hands nonstop. It was too much. But I think done right, small reigns can be effective with the right storyline, with the right kind of bubbling tension within the division as well. It feels like any team can take the belts. And so any match is prospectively a match for a #1 contendership or for a title shot. And I kind of, so long as the booking's there, I think that you can sort of maybe swap those belts around a little bit more. Now, do I like that they took the belts off MCMG that quickly? No,
not at all.
Are they going to be capable of more major magic, hopefully, on a pay-per-view at some point soon with DIY? Yes. Absolutely yes. But
the way this was framed, though, you had Pretty Deadly having some involvement there. Legado del Fantasma obviously will want another shot to try and be champions or #1 contenders, I should say. I feel like it's heading to a big multi-tag. One of the events, maybe Elimination Chamber, have another Elimination Chamber tag team match.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of the first one, but it could work. The teams are all pretty damn great. I'm intrigued to see where this goes, but I just want the belts back on the Guns.
Yeah, I think that they came in, got the belt so quickly that it felt a bit like, But at the same time, as I said, I don't so much mind some hot swapping going on.
We cheeky hot potato.
But moving across to Drew McIntyre here. This is a bit of a weird one for Drew, but despite their heated rivalry, he praised CM Punk recently for not having a boo-boo face following the remarks that were made online by Drew. And he said, when speaking to the Mail Online...
Man, just the thought of hearing Drew McIntyre, big, tall, burly Scottish man saying boo-boo face.
Boo-boo face.
Hello there, Drew McIntyre, boo-boo face. It doesn't work for me. But he said at Daily Mail, he said, I will say, however my feelings are towards him, I went completely gangbusters for him. I didn't hold back. On TV, I can only go so far, but on social... It's my socials. You can't tell me what to do. I went overboard and the company could have asked me to pull back if they wanted me to. And I'd have said, no, it's my socials. But I went at him and went at him. And I've done that to a couple of people and they have got a boo-boo face. And not that I care, but he didn't. He ate it like a man and then came back with what he had to say. So I'll give him that. Very strange to hear praise from Drew McIntyre towards CM Punk. But he also said in the interview that they realized that they created magic together. And they really did.
They did, and I think Drew's social game has been undeniably, unbelievably
unmatched,
on point.
Almost.
And I think that needs to continue. And if anybody does get a boo-boo face...
Grow up.
Then slap it off of their face, Drew. Drag it out on PLE.
Yeah.
I know, like I said, pay-per-view. I'm learning. I'm getting better. But moving across to the other side of the fence here, we've got some spoilers for AEW Collision tonight. So if you don't want this spoiled, and it's a pretty big spoiler, leave now. We will be back maybe later with a third video, but you've got till, if you just skip ahead to the end of the video completely or leave, and you got 3, 2, 1, right. So, Fightful Select have reported that AEW / Ring of Honor name, independent wrestling veteran,
legend of the industry,
Christopher Daniels is now considered effectively retired from in-ring competition following the taping of AEW Collision. His Texas Death Match with Hangman Page is reportedly supposed to serve as his final match.
Yes, so this was taped on Thursday night. It's airing tonight, which is why we've given the spoiler warning.
Yeah.
Obviously, this suggests we're not going to actually say who won, but this actually gives you some insight into how it may go down.
Everybody goes out on top.
Yeah, of course. Yes, this Texas Death Match is reportedly based on all the spoilers that has been out there.
Yeah.
Very violent and brutal. What a way to go out. I'm very excited to see it. It's a nice cap on his career, though, just having another big match, a featured match at Maximum Collision, Maximum Carnage.
This is the one thing that I loved SCU initially in the early phases of AEW and everything, but like I just wish we could have had one last final proper singles run
for the
Christopher
Fallen
Daniels. But what a career. Like, if it is the end for Christopher Daniels, it says effectively retired. So you've got to imagine he's still going to maybe wrestle sometimes. But, like, he's very busy. He works backstage. He's involved with a lot in the company. So it's got to get to a point where you've kind of got to take one of those hats off for a while. Now, again, it's wrestling. Do I think any retirement sticks? Not usually.
No.
But effective retirement here. He has been effectively missing from screen for a while in terms of like how much he used to be featured compared. So I just hope that it is the match he wanted, and I hope that it's everything he hoped it would be.
That's the thing. I think the effectively retired quotation there is the fact it's like if he's not happy with it, he'll come back for another one.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard anyway, it's a pretty good match, and you should watch it on Collision tonight.
Well, that's it for your second dose of lovely bumper weekend wrestling news. We may be back later on if anything else breaks, but in the meantime, keep it with us here. We got plenty of content coming out over the weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.